ever noticed that spending hours on social media is a lot easier than working or studying a new language for 30 minutes, for example? Studying or working just doesn't sound as appealing because one activity is a lot easier than the other. Scrolling on social media is a lot easier for us to do than dedicating an hour to an essay paper. But why is this the case? Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about how I managed to trick my brain into doing difficult things. And no, I wasn't born being able to do that. This is something that I had to teach myself. And even right now, I still always have to remind myself why I'm doing all the difficult things I'm doing. So here's the thing, our brain acts like a spoiled child, and that's exactly why it's so much easier for us to spend an hour on social media than an hour studying a new language. For a lot of people, ego plays a big part because our ego is closely connected to our self-worth. If, for example, I place my whole self-worth on the fact that I can speak different languages really well, once I start learning a new language, for example, and I can't speak this language, well, my ego suffers a lot because then I have to struggle a lot, I don't know a lot of words, I feel stupid, and that's why a lot of people retreat, a lot of people stop learning foreign languages because of this ego problem. So why are some people seem to be more motivated to tackle difficult things? The answer is they know how to trick their brains into doing challenging things. So before I share with you how I do it, I absolutely have to talk about the science behind it, because understanding the science behind tricking your brain into doing difficult things is a major part of teaching yourself to trick your brain to do difficult things. Dopamine is our brain's neurotransmitter. It makes us desire things. That's why you want to watch this show. That's why you want to spend hours on social media, or that's why you want to eat this chocolate bar. It's all because of dopamine. It is involved in the brain's reward system and is released when we experience pleasurable or rewarding stimuli. It creates this kind of positive association with this action, and that's why you want to continue doing these things more and more. This process is often referred to as the reward pathway or the dopamine reward system. And of course, dopamine plays a big role in our social media consumption because it is involved in the fear of missing out, or FOMO. And I actually have a full video about FOMO on my YouTube channel. So if you want to check it out, you can click right here. FOMO is a psychological phenomenon where individuals feel anxious or compelled to stay connected and not miss out on social experiences. And so if an activity releases a lot of dopamine, you'll be motivated to do this activity over and over again. Your brain needs immediate rewards to release dopamine, and that's why social media is so addicting, because immediately after clicking on this Instagram icon, you will see everything you wanted to see. You will see all of the pictures and videos you were anticipating to see. And so the main question is, how can we move all this dopamine, for example, from social media consumption or other activities that don't really bring a lot of value into our lives, to activities that we know will bring a lot of value, for example, working on a difficult project or learning a new foreign language? How can we make those activities more exciting? How can we make our brains release more dopamine when we do all of these activities? And guys, fortunately, it is absolutely possible to accomplish. You have to remember that our bodies have this unique ability to maintain a stable and balanced internal environment despite external changes. And this in biology is called homeostasis. Homeostasis is involved in regulating different physiological processes in our bodies. For example, our body temperature. That's why if I get too hot wearing the sweater, my body is gonna start sweating, because the optimal temperature for our bodies is around 37 degrees Celsius or around 98 degrees Fahrenheit. If your body gets used to consuming social media and getting all the dopamine from there, and also getting a lot of dopamine from there, you'll be drawn to spending hours on social media, hours on end. Instead, we need to change the balance a little bit. We need to put all this dopamine to working and studying and create a new balance. So here is what I do to create this new balance to help trick my brain to do difficult things. The first thing is I realized that discomfort is only temporary and I need to change my mindset. It's extremely important to remember that the way you frame any task can make all the difference in the world. For example, when I sit down to study Spanish, I don't think, oh my God, I have to study Spanish again. I absolutely hate it. Instead, I think, wow, I get to study Spanish because I live in Mexico City, in Mexico, this beautiful country, surrounded by amazing people, and I get to practice Spanish with locals. So when I frame it like that, I'm instantly motivated to get up and study Spanish. And of course, at the beginning, maybe I'm gonna be feeling a little bit unmotivated because there's not enough dopamine connected to Spanish learning. However, when I venture out there, when I talk to a local, that creates those beautiful connections in my brain and teaches me that actually learning Spanish is an amazing thing, and that adds more dopamine to my Spanish learning. The second thing I do is I take baby steps. I do an unpleasant activity for just a little bit. For me, a very unpleasant activity to do is to clean my apartment. I love living in a clean space. However, I have to be honest with you guys, I'm not always the most motivated person when it comes to cleaning my apartment. For example, especially when it comes to vacuum or mopping the floors. So that takes me quite a lot of time to actually start doing. So what I do is I tell myself, okay, Veronika, just grab a vacuum, plug it into the outlet, and just vacuum your bedroom. That's it. I start small, and then, once I build momentum, I'm like, okay, I think I can actually vacuum the whole apartment right now. And then once I'm done, I'm like, you know what? I actually think I'm gonna mop the floors right now. I know maybe this example is a little bit childish, but believe me, we all struggle with our own things. For some people, it's very easy to clean their apartments. For some people, it's very easy to go to the gym, while others struggle a lot. So it's important to take baby steps to help yourself. The next thing I do is I perform a dopamine detox to help my dopamine receptors recover. The sense behind it is that we need to learn how to embrace boredom. I feel like right now, the moment we feel bored, we can just grab our phones, go into social media, and we're not bored anymore. However, I think it's absolutely crucial to teach ourselves to be at least a little bit bored. I work on social media, and every single day I'm bombarded with messages and likes and comments, and sometimes I just can't take it anymore because it gets overwhelming. In those situations, what I usually do is I spend time by myself. I meditate because meditation can help us embrace boredom by fostering this mindset of mindfulness and reducing our reliance on external stimuli. I also go to a park completely by myself, and I just don't do anything there. I don't listen to music, I don't listen to any podcast, I don't watch YouTube videos. I just lay in the grass and I enjoy the nature. I allow myself to feel bored as I teach myself its importance. I teach my brain to start releasing dopamine even when I'm not really doing anything, even when I feel bored. Number 4. I use high dopamine activities as a reward for myself after completing a difficult task. It's exactly what our parents would do when we were kids. Oh, you can only eat this ice cream after you finish dinner. Oh, you can only watch TV after you finish your homework. Unfortunately, what happens after we grow up, we lose this control over ourselves, and instead of telling ourselves, you can only watch TV after you finish your work, we watch TV and we do work, we procrastinate, we do something else, something completely not productive. Again, because I live in Mexico, it's important for me to study Spanish. So usually what I do after my work day, I work, obviously I have a full-time job, I finish all my work tasks, and then I give myself an hour to study Spanish. And only after studying Spanish, I can do everything else. I can read, I can watch a movie, I can watch a TV show, I can go on my phone, wherever I want to, because I use this as a reward for studying Spanish, for something that produces not a lot of dopamine, right? If this activity, for example, learning Spanish, is challenging, obviously, and that's why it doesn't produce as much dopamine as scrolling on social media, I use scrolling on social media as a reward for myself after studying Spanish. Number 5. I take the pressure off my ego. Yes, I might screw up when I film YouTube videos. Yes, I might make mistakes when I learn a new language. But the thing that matters the most is that I'm learning. I'm constantly learning something new. I'm improving my skills and my abilities. So this process of taking the pressure off myself allowed me to start learning 3 foreign languages. And currently I can speak 4, obviously to various degrees of fluency. I'm not fluent in every single language I speak, but still I'm learning all of these languages and I'm having fun. The same thing is true for YouTube. Obviously at the very beginning I didn't know anything about YouTube. I didn't know how to film, I didn't know how to talk in front of a camera. I felt very shy, and taking this pressure off my ego helped me to push through. Because some people might be like, okay, I have achieved a lot of things in my life and now I feel stupid again. Like, I don't want to do that. But for me, I do want to be constantly learning. I love being a learner. Like, I love having this identity. I'm learning foreign languages. I'm learning how to speak in front of a camera. I'm learning how to film YouTube videos. I'm constantly learning. And finally, I teach my brain to enjoy doing difficult things. You have to understand, the only way to train your brain to do hard things is to do hard things. Preparing for the Mexico City Marathon wasn't easy and I wanted to give up many times. I had a grueling training schedule. I had to run multiple times every single week and I felt exhausted. The sense of accomplishment kept me going. I wanted to contribute to something bigger than myself. I wanted to run a marathon. I wanted to become a person who invests in themselves, because the truth is, the more effort something takes, the more we tend to value it. That's exactly why people value something they paid for a lot more compared to something they didn't pay a penny for. If something is free and easy, people tend to ignore it. People tend to put very little value to it. For example, just like me with my YouTube channel, I constantly tell people how proud I am for starting a YouTube channel because it took a lot of guts. It was hard and it is still hard sometimes. I'm still learning and I'm still improving my videos day by day. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something new. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in my next video.